Finishing a franchise, should you choose to accept it, isn't mission difficult. It's mission impossible. No, that's Bond. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Directed by Christopher McQuarrie. Written by Christopher McQuarrie, Bruce Geller and Eric Jendresen. Starring Tom Cruise, Hayley Atwell and Simon Pegg. No longer Dead Reckoning 2, or Part 2. We are now in the final reckoning, and it takes place a few months after Dead Reckoning. And honestly, if you haven't seen Dead Reckoning, you're fine. So much of the opening to this film is flashbacks and filling you in. Here's what you missed on Glee last week, to get you up to speed. The title sequence doesn't come in, I would bet, till about 20 minutes in, if not longer. It feels like such a long time until we get there. And it really doesn't have a lot of action in it. It really doesn't have a lot of action in it for a Mission Impossible film, for an action film, for even a franchise closer, until Tom Cruise can't get another hit. Well, hey. No. There are probably about 2 major action sequences in the film, and they don't happen till the second half, last third, at the very least. It's a very long film as well. Why is this long? Because of the amount of flashbacks in it. There are so many flashbacks, there are so many callbacks, there are so many tie-ins. Great, wonderful. Celebrate the franchise. But give it purpose rather than just nostalgia bait, rather than just to have the callback, because you don't earn anything from this. And it was ultimately quite a frustrating watch. I've really enjoyed a lot of the Mission Impossible films, you know, and apart from two is so overblown and over the top. You can enjoy it on its own merits, but it's so different from the rest of them. It just doesn't feel like the same franchise. Very of his time. And this one is the most like number 2. You know, I really enjoyed number 3. I really enjoyed Fallout. I really enjoyed Rogue Nation. I didn't really enjoy the last one. I didn't love it. I didn't like it. I can't really remember a lot of it. I felt Rebecca Ferguson phoned it in and tapped out. Fair enough to her. She didn't have to star in this one. Tom Cruise is fine. Tom Cruise is taking it very seriously and doing his whisper acting as much as he can. But Ethan Hunt at this point is superhuman. We don't fear for him. There was no stakes. There was no stakes in this film. We knew what Ethan had to do and how to do it, and how he was going to do it, essentially. And it was never in doubt. It was never in doubt what he was going to do, or that he wasn't going to do it. And this is the point. Ethan is so good at just about everything. He is a superhero, for lack of a better term. The way things were left with, like, Hayley Atwell, welcome addition to the franchise. Really like her. Really like what she brought to it. But the way it was left at the end of Dead Reckoning, I thought, oh God, we're going to have like this conflicted character chasing after Ethan. No, within about 5 seconds of her being on screen, she is on Ethan's side. Whatever happened at the end of part 1 of Dead Reckoning, forgotten about, pretty much. And it really made a lot of that pointless, quite honestly. And like I said, very frustrating. It was a mess. It was just a mess. And it goes along at a fair speed, but somehow we're just going from place to place to place to place to place to place to place. And it happens so quick and so fast. And it's like the threat of this AI entity is going to take over the world. But how? It has the nuclear. It doesn't have a purpose. It's just going to do this evil thing because it's evil. We need it to be evil. It just became a MacGuffin. There's a great callback to Mission Impossible 3. We get the rabbit's foot. We find out what the rabbit's foot is. And again, that was a MacGuffin then. And it just carries on being a MacGuffin now. We just do things to advance the plot, even though there isn't really a plot. Ving Rhames is there. He's not in it very much, to be honest, and it's great to see him, but he just sounds like an AI had written his stuff from all his appearances in the previous films. Simon Pegg's great, brings some levity, brings some real... He feels earnest, he feels really earnest in what he's doing, and gives everything more weight. But why, my God, why do he look so much older than Tom Cruise? Like, he looks so with it. And there's a scene late in the film where, let's just say he's not doing well. It's like, nah, didn't need to put makeup on him, just spray him with water, he's ready to go. I'm going to butcher this. Pom Klementieff. She was there. There's not really a lot of character development. Ethan Hunt is already a superhero, and he has this team who are willing to go to the ends of the earth for him. And they do, but nobody learns anything. It's sort of meant to be this culmination, like all these previous adventures. Where this is, the team has learnt so much and can, they're so competent now because of all they learnt. But not really. Ethan does virtually everything. Virtually everything. I'm fairly sure Hayley Atwell was only added in because Rebecca Ferguson quit, sort of thing. Like, you can only have one female at a time. There's a new guy. He's great, played by Greg Tarzan Davis. No notes. Love the name. I don't think his name is said in the entire film. I had to go look him up afterwards to tell you what it was. I just looked at it before I started recording this. I still can't tell you what it is. It's Darzan. He just joins in. He just joins in for no reason. He just joins the group. It is infuriating. Shea Whigham, who, he's been in a fair few of the films as this sort of like secondary antagonist that's not really an antagonist. And they give him this... You find out his backstory, and it ties in to the first film. That's fine, but make it mean something. It's pointless. Nothing comes of it. You don't learn anything. You don't gain anything. It doesn't do anything for Ethan's journey. It doesn't do anything for the story in general. It doesn't do anything retroactively either. If you look back over the past films and think, oh, now I know this about him, how does it affect how I see him in these ones or his actions? Nothing. Nothing is gained. Nothing is gained, nothing is lost. It's just there to tie it in. And it happens so often that did my camera just die? Always change your camera batteries, folks. Make sure they're charged before you start filming. There are so many callbacks, there are so many references to the previous films in the franchise, and they do absolutely nothing. What happens with Shea Whigham is completely like it just that example tells you everything about all the others. Not a lot really matters. My favourite performances in this was Rolf Saxon, and he plays a character we've only ever seen in the first one. And he comes back in this one, and where this character is a nice, it's a nice reference to a line in the first one. But he brought such meaning to every line he had. He had gravitas. He made you believe the crazy shit that was going on was real and was life-threatening for everyone. And oh my God, I needed more of him. I needed more like him in the entire bloody film, because the rest of it is so disappointing in comparison to him. He elevated this. I give him a whole star, an extra number on this rating because of him. That is how much I enjoyed him. And you know what? It's not even a flashy role. It's just what is this film? So let's talk a bit about the action as well. You go to a Mission Impossible film partly because Tom Cruise is actually doing that. Tom Cruise is actually clinging onto the side of something. He's climbing up something. Like, it really adds an element to it. And for this, there's a really extended underwater sequence. I think that's the best bit I can do. They're in the Arctic. I'll say that. Look, they're in the Arctic. It's freezing waters, and he goes, let's say scuba diving. and it's odd. It just amounted into like 10-15 minutes of watching Tom Cruise grunt around, which was weird. I didn't feel any stakes in it because it was kind of like, well, yeah, he's gonna do it. He's Ethan Hunt. Side note, Tom Cruise he has a spectacular body for someone who's in his 60s. I didn't need to see it that much. It was very, very homoerotic. It was very Top Gun of him. I get it. You look amazing. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with you running around everywhere. But it just wasn't needed all the time. It was really like, yeah, I'll look at it. And it's frustrating. Like, you get all these side characters that there's more to side characters than there are the main characters. And there's a few characters. We've been on a journey with them. We've known Simon Pegg in this franchise since number 3, which is, if you think about it, was like 2006? Was it 2006 or 2008? It's one of the two. It's around that time. That's 20 years nearly. Bloody hell. You get the underwater thing, and this is the point. This really like exemplified the point of Ethan Hunt is a superhero. In that he strips down to his knackers in the Arctic Ocean, and he's fine. Like, look, Batman and Batman Begins freezes in the Tibetan mountains, wherever they are, and yeah, there's just no threat. There's no threat. The villain is rubbish. The villain is rubbish. He was rubbish in the first one, and he was rubbish. He was even worse in this one. He had nothing to do. The performance was really like, haha. He was mustache twirling. He was mustache. He was twirling his mustache in evilness. And that was it. And it wasn't really like, oh my god, it's so camp, it's fun. And it wasn't like, oh my god, he's actually like a serious villain. He just wasn't. There was just nothing to do. There was no flavour to this villain. This final sequence, you could probably tell from the marketing that Tom Cruise is on a biplane. He's hanging off a biplane. And because of how loud biplanes are and everything, it feels like silent cinema. The way it is, it's almost for me felt like Buster Keaton-esque, the way he was doing it and everything. But I never felt any peril. I never felt any danger. The villain just wasn't threatening. If the villain truly tied into the previous films, we could have had stakes, but it just wasn't like a personal thing to make you care. There wasn't an ounce of personality in this. So when the villain dies in a really surprising way, it was really like, it really shocked me. It really shocked the cinema I was in. Just out of nowhere, out of pocket, it does this, and he just, oh, okay, I guess he's gone. He's bopped off the mortal coil. Like, all right, I guess. It's just frustrating. Ethan even survives the parachute fall. Really, he plummets. But it's okay. He's Ethan Hunt. No stakes. Nothing. Crap villain. Crap callbacks. And the way it ends, even, it kind of suggests there might be another one. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was. And it's going to be Tom Cruise, even further into his 60s, doing even more insane shit. And the thing is, I think the series, in terms of stunts, kind of peaked too early. So climbing the Burj Khalifa, that was great. You know, that's thrilling and incredible, and yeah, that's a really exciting sequence. And even the beginning of Rogue Nation, where he's hanging on to the side of the airplane when it takes off, that was really cool. But I can't remember which one it's in, but the underwater sequence as well, where he goes through the tunnel and has to hold his breath. You're like, yeah, no, Tom Cruise would hold his breath for that long. But this one, like I say, when you're swimming in your trunks in the Arctic Ocean, it kind of loses meaning when you're doing anything else. it was just frustrating. It was really, yeah, it felt like number two. I wasn't even sure I watched a Mission Impossible film, quite honestly. Even the editing was kind of like all these crossfades and stuff as Ethan thinks about things and, you know, looks at the totality of everything he's done. It was really like, oh, ringing out the melodrama. And yeah, actually at the beginning there is a fight scene where you don't see any fighting. They hide the fighting and you sort of watch someone's reaction to it and you don't see what's happening. And it's kind of like, that really set the tone. That really set the tone for me of what was coming, because you are watching that going, why aren't I seeing the fight? Why aren't I seeing the action in a Mission Impossible film? You know, they're heralded for their action. And they were shying away from it. They weren't looking at it. They were doing the Reservoir Dogs, where you don't look at what's happening. Oh, it's just baffling. It was really baffling. It was Mission Impossible's greatest hits. And it should be better. It absolutely should be better. Yeah, I think I came out of that going like, it can't have been that bad. Like, I think I would give Dead Reckoning a 6 out of 10. But this was worse. This wasn't. This was just worse. This was just worse, honestly, on every level. Like, nothing pays off from the previous film. That was it. The whole thing they're fighting for in the previous film, they just suddenly have another one. So what's the point? What's the point in anything? It's a 5. It's a crap 5. It was rubbish. Got a bit heated there. I mean, look, if you enjoy Mission Impossible, it's worth watch. It's not unwatchable. It still went on a clip. It still went along at a pace. It was still watchable. It was still entertaining, and I use that word loosely. It was still entertaining, but it was kind of like, this is a film you could watch with your friends drunk and just pick at. Like, CinemaSins are going to have a field day with this, quite honestly, and rightly so too. You know, Christopher McQuarrie did Rogue Nation and Fallout, and they were great. And you know, people argue they are the best Mission Impossible films. Yeah, absolutely. 3, 4, 5, 6 were great. 7 was okay at best, and this one's just. It wasn't like it's not the worst film I've seen this year. That might be Captain America. Like, that was, Captain America was a struggle. Captain America could be boring at times, but this one was. It was fast enough. It kept going, but you know, we've had so much better things from this franchise before, and from the same creatives, and you know, we got this. Every line felt like a trailer line or something like that. It just should have been a celebration of what came before it, but it just wasn't, and it just falls flat. It's the closest to Mission Impossible 2 in all the worst ways. So yeah, if that rant didn't turn you completely off, give me a like, give me a share, give me a subscribe even. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the flip side.